Well, it is the third day of MSI 2021 with coverage brought to you by Alienware. And Cloud9 just did the unbelievable. They won a game. We're very we're very happy over here in North America. I'm joined by Vulcan right now. Vulcan, okay, so let's first off talk about that game. There was a point in the very beginning when they were three kills up, and people were starting to get a little nervous. I mean, were you guys okay because you knew you had them in the late game, or I mean, kind of what was your thought process as you started to see them get? I mean, I guess you didn't see the gold lead, but maybe you sensed it.
I was definitely a bit nervous when there was a pause. Like when there's a pause, you kind of think about life more than when you're actually in the game. When you're in the game, you're just thinking about what you should be doing and what's the next thing, right? But if there's a pause, there's like downtime and you can't talk to your teammates. So there's this awkward moment where everyone's thinking about what they ate in the morning and if they're going to lose this game. So it did cross my mind during that game, but I was confident we were able to like pull it back because a lot of time in NA we would fall behind a little bit in the early game and then have better mid game and kind of claw back into the game. And that's something that's pretty different than 2020 Cloud9, I would say. And that's something that we're better at than we were last year. So, yeah, I mean, it felt comfortable to be in that game and knowing that we have Tristana Jinx, we'll be able to kill their front line pretty easily and just win out team fights.
Yeah. Okay, so then you managed to actually beat them. Did you approach this game differently than the last two games? Because there was, some of the commentary was like, oh, they're playing very safe. They're very calm and reserved in their approach to this game. So I don't know if there was a thought like, oh, we're going to just play this like cool, calm, and collected match against these guys to make sure we get the win.
I wouldn't say there was like a different approach to the game. The one different thing is I did the pregame speech and I did say to be more aggressive, which it didn't really happen because okay. I think our champs, it was kind of hard to force. It's just like hitting skill shots and the players that we went for, we ended up missing. So the early plays didn't work too well, but I think we'll have to look at that because there was definitely some angles that would that could have been really good for us. So there's that. But yeah, I think no different approach other than hopefully destroying enemy nexus.
I hate to expose him this way if you haven't heard or he didn't tell you, but I don't know if he communicated in the game, but there's a moment where Blabber just kind of like fat fingered a stopwatch. Did you know that early game? Was there a conversation about it in the game?
Yeah, I mean, he said, "Oh, I accidentally Zonias," and I was like, "Oh, that's fine. You'll just play backline Morgana." And we have the comm that can allow him to do that. He doesn't need to like flash in and make a crazy play in that game. He's just like a black shield bot for Rel when she goes in. So it wasn't the biggest of a deal. It's just it happens all the time.
Yeah,
I'd say on stage, so it's fine.
I tweeted that he was just showing his confidence by taunt stopwatching. So I thought maybe that was it. Okay, so now that we've talked about today, I kind of want to go back and ask, like, okay, so yesterday I did an interview with Sven. People don't always know that these interviews take place minutes after. Like, I just watched the Nexus explode, and then I turned on Zoom, and here you are. So, obviously he was stressed. I assume a lot of the other players were stressed, maybe yourself included. What happened yesterday between then and now to help you guys like reset? What were the conversations, etc.?
I think we talked about our draft and we didn't feel comfortable with having that many skill champs, or it's like one too many skill champs. We should have like one more champion that enables the others to do their playstyle. And in the other game, we had Jason and Varus who all kind of want to do the same thing, and it becomes hard for them to do that if no one is helping them create space or give them like a CC for their skill shots.
Can you put the mic a little closer? Sorry, it's hard.
A little closer? Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we weren't too comfortable with the draft, and we have like some new ideas on how we want to draft going forward. And we also had some late night scrims against one of the top teams in the tournament and beat them for the first time. So that was like a game changer for today. Yeah, I think that was the main things that we did, and just like talking it out and trying to figure out what works best for us for jungle, because Blabber did get far behind, or like he got double crabbed in both these games, and it wasn't his fault, right? It was like a team thing or drafting, whatever. But we need to figure this stuff out, and I think we did a pretty good job this game of that. So looking to get better at that going forward as well.
Well, and yeah, that's what I was going to ask is how you guys were able to get the confidence, because I feel like after those two losses, it might be kind of easy to go into the third game and be like, oh fuck. But it sounds like that those wins last night really helped you guys in scrims.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say so. I mean, it always helps to get like a quick confidence boost, but at the same time, scrims are scrims, and I've won like last year. We were winning so many scrims before we ended up getting eliminated from world contention, and maybe we should have lost more scrims, you know. So scrims are scrims, but it definitely like made us have more dopamine at the end of the night, and then going to bed with the dub in scrims. It's just gonna help you sleep better, and it's gonna help you play better the day after. I would
Yeah,
say.
especially when you said it was against one of the top teams in the tournament. How much? Okay, so you guys have done all these scrims. It sounds like there's probably been quite a few losses in them. What? How much of a gap did you feel between sort of where C9 was when you got to Iceland and where you needed to be? Like, I don't know if it's a thing where you landed and you start scrimming, you start playing these other teams, and you're like, oh wow, it's just chaotic. Everyone's figuring out the meta. All these scrims are messy. Or if you go, oh shit, we haven't really been challenged in North America so far. Now it's the big game. We have to like figure all this stuff out because a lot of these teams are just ahead of us. So I'm kind of trying to get a gauge on where you felt you were versus the other teams when you landed in Iceland. Maybe where you are now too.
Um, I mean, I'd say we were compared to the other teams when we arrived. It was fine. I mean, we ended up scrimming Mad Lions, did pretty well against them both times we scrimmed them. We've been struggling versus some of the Asian teams though, and I think it's also part of having bad days and like classic jet lag excuse, you know, and stuff like that. And right now, I think we're doing better. Yesterday, we beat the top team in scrims. It's one scrim, right? I won't put too much meaning into that, but compared to the other teams, I don't know. It's hard to say. I think Damwon and RNG are, well, after DFM versus Damwon, maybe not so much, but I think RNG is looking very, very strong and looking like contenders for a tournament. And compared to them, I'd say we're like under them with Damwon, Mad Lions. The other nation Focus Me, I guess, nowadays are up there as well.
Well, that's okay. I'm glad you brought that up because that was going to be one of my questions. Obviously, we just saw DFM push Damwon to the very edge before Damwon was able to turn around that last team fight. That gave NA fans, and I guess I'm asking, is it just copium that we're all feeling whenever we see that and we're like, oh wow, actually Detonation Focus Me, this insane team that's able to push maybe the best team in the league to their limits. That makes us feel a lot better about the C9 game. Or do you after the C9, I guess after your loss to DFM yesterday, were you like, we shouldn't have lost that, that's not a good team? I don't know how much where should people be gauging DFM in the standings?
I mean, we're definitely thinking like, how do we lose these guys? They're so much worse than us, and I mean, they've been putting up some impressive performances. Like, I think they're maybe overreaching or like playing better than they usually would. I think we're better players than them, and it was like definitely the best case scenario when they played against Damwon, and it was a close game. They showed a lot of good things, and then still lost because if DFM goes on to win that game, it makes it a bit harder for us to get out of plans, and that would be a complete disaster.
Yeah.
So we were cheering for Damwon. We were the biggest Damwon fans in our getting ready room. So definitely got excited after they won and gave us a little bit of a boost going into the Infinity match.
Yeah. Well, I know there's a ton of NA fans that are cheering for you guys and are happy with today's win for sure. I'm sure no more happier than you are. Is there anything you want to say to any of the fans back home?
Yeah, I mean, on behalf of all the team, we're sorry about the way the tournament started, and we're doing everything we can to turn it around. And today was like the first big step in doing that, and I think we'll be a lot more comfortable going to the second round robin of the plan. So thanks for cheering for us, and we'll be a lot stronger in the future.
Thank you so much, Vulcan, for the interview. Really appreciate it. And for everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things MSI right here on my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching that interview. You know, May 11th is a crazy day. You look at the MSI schedule, you're like, there's so much going on that day. I can't believe it. It's going to be mind-blowing. No, it's actually not that crazy for MSI reasons. It's crazy because on May 11th, Alienware is announcing something really cool. So be sure to stay tuned to their social channels so that you find out what it is that they're announcing, because I can't tell you. I'm literally legally not allowed to tell you, so don't try to get me to tell you, because I cannot. Certainly not an outro of an interview. Also, subscribe to the channel, please, because I lost some subscribers recently. And I lost a lot of self-respect, too.